Hello, my dear friends. Today we keep on reading the diary of German Oberleutnant Martin Stiglitz. Remember to rate this video and also leave your opinion about this story. And we are going to start. September 7th, 1941. It is already the 13th Sunday of the war. It's autumnal cool, occasional rain, sometimes with hail and sunshine. Today we marched about 18 kilometers with weapons and equipment on our backs. We are pursuing the Russians on their heels. Now we are in the village of Leutnava. The Reds have been kicked out of here only 2 hours ago. They run whenever we come any closer. That's something new. They have abandoned their positions here, quite cleverly equipped with barbed wire and stuff. About 10 kilometers east of here there's a source of the Volga. The aircraft activities of both sides are quite vigorous. Since yesterday, our heavy fighters have been permanently in the sky. Our convoys are always very late, though we are constantly losing our horses on these goddamn roads, yet we are keeping up with the enemy. Yesterday we stayed overnight in Bolshoi Bahat, where our 1st Battalion had driven the Russians out about an hour before. We set up a strong combat guard. The wagons arrived only at 2 a.m., and today, since 7:15 a.m., we have been on the move again. It's evening, about 7 p.m., and our field kitchen has just arrived, so I'm going to eat something first. So far today I've only eaten some carrots. September 8th. Today we set out only at 1 p.m., with bright sunshine and along a good, eventually dry road. This is the result, 12 kilometers in just 2.5 hours. Could it be compared to the previous days of continuous rain? My wagons last night arrived as late as at 4 a.m. The nights are already noticeably cold. We are now in Luga. It's a big village. The Valdai Hills are very picturesque. It has to be admitted, regardless of all my prejudice to this USSR. My 2nd platoon has been ordered to guard the regiment today. Today I moved on foot because I sent my stableman K together with another soldier who could ride. Down the road we passed to the convoy to take the letters, which have been there for 6 days. We have been on the way since 9 a.m. today. It is now 4 p.m. September 10th. An order was given yesterday. The battalion shall not move anywhere for now, so we were given a day's rest unexpectedly. We hurried to get ourselves cleaned up. I bathed myself clean from top to bottom. I call it ablution with a bucket, because the containers used are not much bigger. In the afternoon at about 2 p.m., I set out on horseback, and by 8 p.m. I was back from reconnaissance of the area 10 kilometers west of us. There are as many as 5 Red divisions surrounded to the east of Holm. The 1st Battalion has already marched out tonight. We have to be here for the time being in full combat readiness, so that we can engage, if necessary, in the area where it is needed. The tanks have broken through and moved toward Valdai. September 11th. The order to march came at 12:30 p.m. The battalion immediately moved out. Now, since 6 p.m. of yesterday, we are taking up the defense and standing on guard at Pelenovshina. As there is nothing happening yet, the company units settle in huts, constantly replacing each other. Last night there were the first frosts. And now the sun shines bright. Right now, literally in front of our eyes, our anti-aircraft gunners shot down 3 Soviet bombers. How great it was to have them shot down! September 14th. It's 1:30 p.m. We just got orders to march. We have to move out at 2 p.m. Well, that's Karasho. There is much to write about the events of the previous days. For the sake of visualizing the situation, I will just say that I washed for the first time in 3 full days and shaved for the first time in 6 days. These details alone would indicate that we were on a roll. On the night of September 12th, the battalion was ordered to fight. At 1:30 a.m., a liaison officer arrived, and there was no time to sleep anymore. We had to set up and organize everything. At 4 a.m., we marched with weapons and equipment on our backs from Pelenovshina to Dubrovki. There was the initial position of the whole regiment. The mission was to sweep the river valley with an attack. The 1st Battalion marched ahead on both banks of the river, followed by the 2nd Battalion, echeloned deeply to the left, protecting the flank. We were intensively bombarded by artillery, in an effort to break through the locked cauldron, because the Reds knew that they were surrounded. Upon reaching the target of the attack, Dolmotovo Borok, my company engaged, supported by a heavy machine gun platoon, a light machine gun platoon, and a battery of 15-centimeter guns. The rain continued to pour down all day. We were soaked to the skin. We became aware of the testimony of the captives that there must be several hundred trucks, uncountable numbers of guns, etc., in the woods into which I had cut in. I moved deeper into the woods for about 1,800 meters before reaching a large glade. I sent out a reconnaissance, which reported that there were 3 lines of defense there, with tanks and 3 batteries placed directly behind them. And then the artillery fireworks broke out. The Russians were directly firing with 8 15-centimeter guns, 4 7.5-centimeter guns, and 3 tanks. I returned fire. The entire arsenal was engaged, anti-tank gun, heavy and light mortars, as well as heavy and light machine guns. All of this was from a distance of 400 meters. We overwhelmed them with our gunfire, destroying 1 tank and shutting up their artillery battery. All this mess lasted from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. We spent the night in readiness, and by morning the Russians had pulled out. What trophies we got! That's insane! In the woods, the strike group of our company was accompanied by a Latvian, who had been forcibly drafted into the army by the Russians. The group returned after counting the trophies and bringing many captives. We drove the Reds out of the encirclement with fire straight into the hands of our other units on the exterior guard. There were numerous vehicles on the road, which the Reds desperately cut through the forest, for 8 kilometers in large meadows, scattered and abandoned in a terrible mess. 487 trucks, 20 armored vehicles, 6 armored reconnaissance vehicles, 6 armored automobiles, 35 transportable field kitchens, 15 8.8-centimeter caliber anti-aircraft guns, 23 15-centimeter caliber guns, 3 long guns of 15-centimeter caliber, 7 7.5-centimeter caliber guns, 2 12.62-centimeter caliber guns, 2 mobile radios, 8 anti-tank guns, 25 automobiles, 18 motorcycles, and uncountable light and heavy weaponry. The trophies are absolutely incredible. In the afternoon, I was informed that I was promoted to the rank of Oberleutnant as of September 1, 1941. I was very happy. Everyone congratulated me. The last 2 bottles of authentic French cognac were emptied in an anti-tank hole in the middle of a Russian forest in 1,300 kilometers from the homeland. In the middle of the night, there was another telephone call. At 4 a.m., the battalion should be ready to march. We have to break another encirclement. In other words, we have to march for 25 kilometers. Now we're in Nikolaevskoye. So far, there are only 2 attack groups here, with no contact with the enemy. But from all directions around the circle, from the north, northwest, and east, other attack groups are pulling up here. Somewhere in here we're going to get them. It looks like these woods hide their high commanding officers. The weather is marvelous today, with clouds and occasional sunshine. September 15th. Our hunting on Sunday had no success. However, the Russians were met by our other units to the northeast of us, on which we drove them. In the evening, we spent the evening with our platoon officers and had a bottle of Kummel. During the night, it rained hard. Today, the weather is improved. We listened to the trophy records on the Soviet gramophone, including Ludwig van Beethoven's Symphony No. 5 performed by the USSR State Orchestra. What a vivid contrast lies in this very phrase. Major Engel from the Führer's headquarters sent me a letter with heartfelt and warm congratulations on the occasion of my first star. The letter made me feel very happy. September 16th. This morning we will continue to advance in the direction of Demyansk. Yesterday, wounded Russians came out of the woods. Some of them were even carried out in the arms of local citizens. It's terrible. They had bandages on them that hadn't been changed in days. Comrades left them to their fate in the woods. Yesterday, 12 of my soldiers were awarded the Iron Crosses. Now we have a company with 2 Iron Crosses First Class, 33 Iron Crosses Second Class, 74 Infantry Assault Badges. That is something to be proud of. September 18th. Now I'm in the middle of nowhere, called Belyayevshino. The SS Division headquarters is based here, and 3 of us have been ordered to report here. Chief of Staff Klasky, me, and we are also expecting the regimental commander. Most likely we are supposed to replace the SS in this position. Well, we'll wait. Things will be clear soon. This morning, setting out at 7:30 a.m., we passed Demyansk, where a huge prisoner of war camp was built. There, we managed to hop on an armored tractor, which brought us here. All the days before, we were barely getting along the so-called highway, and there was a hell of a downpour. The pace of advancement is simply amazing. 5 kilometers, 15 kilometers. The whole road was jammed with motorized and infantry divisions. The movement was irregular. In every few hundred meters there were forced stops for several hours. Along the entire road, soldiers were building fires. Yesterday morning we made a forced halt behind Demyansk, as night had fallen. Besides, the bridge in Demyansk is not ready yet, so everyone has to overcome a deep ford. Yesterday we were replenished with 24 men. Everyone whispers and sometimes even says openly that we will have to take the defense here, while the key combat operations will unfold in the direction of Moscow. Well, being on the defensive here is total crap, especially in this kind of weather. I can't distinctly hear the artillery cannonade. September 19th. Yesterday we were instructed by the 1st SS Infantry Regiment on the section we took today. The rain kept falling all day. We had to return from the SS Division headquarters on foot initially. Later we managed to ask for horses in the cavalry platoon, and further in the direction of the battalion we rode on horseback. We reached Danilovo by 8 p.m. During the night, the order to take our current section was delivered. We set off at 6:30 a.m. The first snow and rain fell. I got terribly cold on horseback. I inspected our entire front line and instructed the platoon commanders. The length of my section is 2,300 meters. The left flank is in order, but the right flank goes through the woods, which is quite bad. The Russians' raid with Curtis P-40s have been non-stop during the day. Currently, I'm sitting in battalion headquarters. When there is a rumbling, I step outside of the house. The hellhole where we're quartered is called Kulkovo. Here, weirdly enough, there are a lot of stone houses and even painted floors. However, there are plenty of insects there. Like everywhere else, it's bed bombers, bed bugs, and others. That is all for today. You can view other episodes of this diary by following the link in the pinned comment. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and support the channel by subscribing. Bye everyone, and see you soon.